Hey everyone, and welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a Nonprofit Exec Tells All, your go-to podcast for nonprofit leadership insights, crisis management tips, and best practices that help you build an organization that's resilient, effective, and ready for anything. I'm your host, Kari Anderson, principal with Incite Consulting. I spent 25 years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now, I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits, like yours, have the structure, systems, and practices to do your best work. Wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a space to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages you to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you breathe, laugh, smirk, and get excited again about the important work that you do. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. Today's episode is all about something we all wish we had more of, and that is time. Whether you're managing a team, leading a nonprofit, or juggling the relentless demands of daily life, mastering time management isn't just a buzzword, it's essential. And let me tell you, I have been there, and I think I'm there today. Overwhelmed by endless to do lists, staring at blinking cursors, the dreaded where is my Zoom mute button, knowing that I'm busy all day but wondering what actually got done. So, if you've ever struggled with procrastination, right here, or come close to burnout, you're not alone. And today I'm sharing the best time management strategies that I swear by, ones that are not actually doable and not just aspirational. These come from hard won experience in the field, working with busy nonprofit leaders and professionals like you, and yes, learning the hard way myself multiple times. So today's big takeaway, time management isn't about doing more. It's about doing more about what matters and letting go of what doesn't. Actually letting go about what does not matter. Let's dive in. So I first want to talk about what time management is and why it matters to you and to your organization. Time management isn't just squeezing more into your day. It's about making intentional choices about how you spend your energy. When we manage our time well, we reduce stress, improve work quality, and protect our well-being. Poor time management, on the other hand, well, it leads to missed deadlines, mental fatigue, and that nagging feeling of always being behind. So the first step is awareness. Now, I want you to think about tracking your time for clarity. This was a biggie for me. Before you can manage your time, you've got to understand where it's actually going. Time tracking is a game changer. And yes, it feels like a structural piece that might not be necessarily innate for many of you, but it's a big deal. So here's how to go about doing it. Use a notebook, use a spreadsheet, or an app like Toggle or Rescue Time. Track in 15-minute interviews for full days just to see what you're actually doing. And be honest, record everything, even the quick Instagram scroll that really isn't quick. It was 23 minutes on the gram. By the end of the week, you'll start to see patterns. Meetings that don't need to actually be meetings. They could be a text, a phone call, a water cooler conversation, or a quick phone call. Email rabbit holes. Administrative work that's crowding out your most strategic efforts. Once you can see it, you can actually change it. So once we've actually got a handle on where our time's actually going, we can start to prioritize it like a pro. So one of my favorites is the Eisenhower Matrix, also known as Covey's Time Matrix. This framework helps you sort tasks into 4 quadrants: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, neither urgent nor important. You want to live in that second quadrant, important but not urgent. That's where strategic planning, staff development, and long-term thinking live. And also remember the Pareto Principle, and that's 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Focusing your energy where it will have the biggest payoff for you, for your team, for your organization. Now that we've actually mapped out where the time is going and how you might manage it, I want you to think about planning smart, not complicated. So what does that mean? First of all, you need to think about what kind of planner are you? Are you a paper planner person? I love the feeling of writing and the structure that it brings. There's actually research out there that says that if you write it down, you actually have a higher likelihood of remembering it. Then there are those of us that are digital calendar lovers. We thrive on scheduling, reminders, and syncing, either with all of your Apple products or your teams. So there's also task app fans like Todoist or Trello for visual progress tracking. Personally, I do a little bit of each. My week gets mapped out in a paper planner, meetings go into Google Calendar, and big projects live in Trello. The key is consistency, right? I have to make sure that I use all three. That might work for some of you, it might not work for others. Again, this isn't a comparison contest. It's what works for you to make sure that you can actually stay in that important quadrant. So now I want you to think about what scheduling for success might look like. Now that we've actually started to track your time and you're prioritizing what matters, I want you to talk about scheduling using your peak productivity windows. Maybe it's early morning or right after lunch to tackle your most important tasks. Blocking those times like you would a meeting. If I were to show you a screenshot of my calendar, that's exactly what it looks like. My highest energy levels are right before lunch and right after lunch. And I need to make sure that I'm spending really big picture thinking time then and not first thing in the morning or in the afternoon. And leave buffer time around all of those blocks. Back to back commitments don't leave space for thinking or for the unexpected. And don't forget breaks, right? Standing breaks, snack breaks, walk breaks, even 5 minutes can recharge your brain and keep you from crashing mid afternoon. And now we're going to talk about procrastination. Remember, I waved my hand a little earlier. I've known to do this as well. You actually can beat procrastination. So, procrastination is usually a sign of one of three things: the task feels too big, you don't know where to start, or you're afraid of doing it wrong. So, enter Eat That Frog, a method that says do the hardest, most important thing first. Don't wait until 3 p.m. when you're drained. Pick your frog, break it into steps, and start small. 10 minutes is often all it takes to break the inertia. Then we want to start work on eliminating distractions and stop multitasking. You heard me, stop multitasking. It is not a thing, right? So you don't need more willpower. You need fewer distractions. So set up do not disturb blocks. For those of us that have iPhones, right? There's a whole focus piece on your phone where you can set up do not disturb while you're working. Batch your emails into 2 or 3 windows a day. I do this. I check email for the first thing in the morning. I work on it for about an hour, and I do it last thing before I close up shop at the end of the day. I do not touch it the rest of the day. Say no to meetings that don't have a clear purpose. This starts with you, right? Don't be the person that's scheduling meetings that do not need to be a meeting, and make them for less time than you think they need to be. Oftentimes, we don't need an hour meeting, it's a half an hour. Oftentimes, we don't need a half an hour, we need 15 minutes, right? You don't need to meet if there's a purpose. And here's that truth about multitasking: it is a lie. Every time you switch between tasks, you lose focus. Instead, commit to single tasking, especially as our brains age. We get more done and we feel less frazzled. So, as we're thinking about all these pieces having to do with time management, here's another piece that it took me a long time to get my head around, and that is self-care is time management. I can't stress this enough. Rest is not a reward, it's fuel. Did you hear me? Rest is not a reward, it's fuel. Burnout is real. I would hazard a guess that 80 to 90% of you that are actually listening to this today have struggled with burnout at some point in time. In fact, you might be in the thick of it right now. Time management strategies won't work if you are running on empty. Schedule your downtime, protect your sleep, go on vacation and don't check your email. Get outside, talk to someone. You don't have to earn rest, you need it to be effective. So here's quick hits, right? 4 different time management techniques to try. Pick your flavor, right? So I want to wrap up with 4 of my favorite productivity methods. One that I swear by, in fact, one that I use when I'm recording podcasts, it's the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of work and a 5-minute break. It's great for focus and flow. I also use something called Kanban boards. It's the idea of visualizing your task in columns like to do, doing, and done. And platforms like Trello and Asana make it easy to be able to have those types of boards. Um, Getting things done, or GTD, emptying your brain into a trusted system so you don't have to waste energy trying to remember everything, right? I use notes, and I use a task list to be able to do this, and it gets out of my head so I can actually work on the most important things for you and for clients. And there's also something I really enjoy from Tony Robbins called the rapid planning method, focusing on results and not tasks. And so something that I do every morning is I write down my big three, right? Things that I must have results on for the day. And it can't be more than three, right? That's all my brain can do. And then I've got my task list over here of the things that maybe are the urgent pieces, but my results are the important piece. And in order for me to do this rapid planning method, I ask myself, what do I want? Why does it matter? What action will get me there? So, your task this week is to pick one of these, whether it is the Pomodoro technique, whether it's a Kanban board, whether it's getting things done, or the rapid planning method. Pick one and try it this week. So, as we get ready to break and you get on with your day, again, here's your takeaway. Time management isn't about doing more, it's about doing more of what matters and letting go of what doesn't. So, here's the challenge: pick two strategies from today's episode, just two, and commit to trying them over the next week. Maybe it's time tracking and the Pomodoro technique, or maybe it's blocking your meetings for deep work and finally setting boundaries. You know who you are around your email. Whatever you choose, give it a real shot. Your time is too valuable to spend spinning your wheels. Thanks for joining me today on Kari's Confessions. If this episode helped you, share it with a friend or colleague. And if you haven't done so already, hit subscribe so you never miss a moment of mission-driven strategy and support. And make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms, including YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. For additional resources and tools, you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website at inciteconsultinggroup.com. Until next time, here's to working with purpose, leading with clarity, and managing your time like the asset it truly is. Have a great week.